Feeder takeoff. From the wire and conduit takeoff group, we're going to select feeders. The feeder takeoff is very similar to the branch circuits. If you haven't reviewed the branch circuits takeoff training video, you ought to look at that as well, because all of the selections that apply under the branch circuits also apply under feeders. However, under feeders, we can also enter a designation for each feeder. It's not required, but if we want to enter something like feeder 1 or P1, we can also select from the From To button, we can enter where the feeder starts, main switchboard, MSB, and where the feeder is going to. We're going to say panel P1. Again, these aren't required fields, but it's a good idea to put them in. You'll see in a few minutes when we make this entry that it posts that information to the audit trail down here. We're going to leave the number of conduits at 1 and the conduit size at 2-inch. EMT. Now for the difficulty here, we're going to leave it at standard. If I was running this conduit maybe in a basement or a difficult crawl space above the ceiling, I might go to difficult, or if it was a high ceiling, the difficult factor would add 50% to the labor. We'll talk about the parallel labor in the site module. For now, we'll leave it on standard. So we've got 4 3/0. I'm going to change that to 4/0. And I'm going to change the ground wire, the number 6, to a number 4. So this time for the total length, we're going to put in 160 feet. Now, by definition, a feeder is normally one run from the switchboard to the panel. It's one run of conduit. We're going to put in 3 elbows. And again, just for some variety, let's pick a different support here. I'm going to use a conduit hanger. Some people call those a mineral lac. I've even heard them called a standoff. Fairly common fitting. You've got a lot of selections here for feeders. You can do threaded rod with beam clamps and conduit hangers, etc. Just like the branch circuits, it's going to pick up couplings for every 10 feet of pipe, and it's going to pick up 2 terminations. In this case, the termination is a connector at each end and a plastic bushing at each end. So now when we hit takeoff, it's given us a warning, a message that we've made a mistake here. Or someone has made a mistake, maybe the engineer. We've overfilled the conduit. Well, in this case, it was my mistake. I'm going to go back and hit return to correct, and I'm going to change the conduit size to 2.5. This time when we hit takeoff, it's going to prompt us for the makeup wire. If we want 5 feet at each end, we put in 10, total for both ends. Now again, you can see down here in the audit trail, it gives you a very clear heading for that entry. From MSB to panel P1, 160 feet with all the materials down here. Makes it very easy to see all of the stuff associated with that feeder, which are relatively expensive items. Let's do another feeder, call it P2. Again, on the From To, this time it's going to be from MSB to panel P2. We're going to leave the conduit and wire sizes the same. Obviously, you could change them to any other configuration. We're going to put in a length of 140 feet, 1 run, and 3 elbows. Same fittings. We'll hit takeoff. We're going to put in 10 feet of makeup. Again, that would be 5 feet at each end. And hit OK. This report, or this module, has its own report as well. If I want to print out a report, maybe for the electricians in the field with a list of all the feeders and the various lengths, this report would give me a recap of my feeders.